Okay. So today we are going to just recap whatever we have covered as a part of our multi-threading. We have discussed lots of approach, the way as a programmer can request, hey JVM, can you run this my method or set of code as in a separate thread, right? And
Right.
lots of we have to learn to start to manipulate and what the preference, what the general guidelines we can say, and what I feel as a Java developer you should follow as a best practices you can say, or you should memorize something whenever you are going to talk or you are going to walk or you are going to study, right?
Right.
So my personal preference is whenever someone asks you want to use the multi-threading, what are the way you are going to explore, right?
Right.
So nowadays you are say this is the one of the good uh, way we have learned about the virtual threads, how we can start virtual threads and do everything. That's one of the most preferable way. And but what I personally prefer, instead of manually using the thread class, starting one threads and doing all everything. But you can say the executors see the you can say fact utility class which available for us to creating almost all kind of need related to the multi-threading. So best way you can say whenever you are going to start any kind of a threads, maybe scheduling threads, maybe virtual thread, maybe simple runnable task, or maybe callable task, or maybe anything you can say. So best way we have to this this is just my preference is we have to use executors this is utility class, and he will this class help us to write my code, write my method. So lots of things we have this class given us, and we have used couple of them. Like we have used the like new fixed thread pool we have used. Like here say maybe I want to just create the 5 number of thread pool, right? This one we can use uh, instead of this. Similarly, you can. We are just going to brief about. You can. We have already discussed about new cache thread pool, right?
Right.
We have already did some couple of example about the single thread executors, and sometime we have also given some example about the like new thread schedule executors. We have did some examples on fix. Last we have covered about this. Uh, okay, this is one new thing today. I'm going to talk about the new work stealing pool. Something about lots of things miss you can say. Whenever we talk about we have also consider talk about the virtual thread pool. So any other thing miss work stealing, single executor pool, executor pool, cache thread pool, fixed thread pool, virtual thread pool, schedule thread pool, level future. Lots of things, but let's as simple. So almost you can say these are the utility classes, and you can create these are the utility classes. Just what all they create? They create the object of your executor service, right?
Right.
Executor service is interface, okay? Executor service is interface, and you want to create the object. then we can use any one of them to create the object, right? Any one of them you can use, just assign this here, you can create the executor service object, right? So so these are the different. Once you have executor service, and what you have to do, just you have to apply the submit method and call your task, whatever the runnable task, implemented, whatever the things you have, right?
Right.
It's a good example. This, and just go with a simple pool, and preference way always write use this as a try. Okay, try resources, try, and with the catch. Okay, and just done. And just here the semicolon, whatever the code you have, maybe, any class, any method, right, static void my task. Whatever you want to here do, you do, and simply pass here. Like that. So simply, this is the my preferences. This is the simplest way you can do your multi-threading, just using the try with the resources, and just here create the executor service from any one of them, maybe fixed thread pool, cache thread pool, or single thread executor, or you can say uh, ex
Right.
yeah, you can use a single thread as a schedule job, right? Frequency or delay times, or last we have a preference way nowadays. Always you can use this virtual thread concept, right? But someone they want to explore other existing library, they can
Right.
use any one of them. The simplest way, just use the try block and use any factory method to provide the implementation of executor service, and just call the submit method, and the method, the business logic which you want to that run in the separate thread, different thread, just call this your code. Just submit your code, right?
Right.
And that's done, right? So what is saying? This saying highlighting something error cannot resolve symbol. What is TRY? Try. Okay, good. Anything's already defined. Okay, this is already defined. Just and this is okay. So this is just you can say refresh whenever you want to going to create the multi-threading application. Anything means ki the particular business logic 1, business logic 2, whatever the task you have. Okay, maybe task 1, task 2, whatever the task you have, lines of code. Okay? Whatever the business logic, you can just submit your task. Maybe 1 task, 2 tasks, 3 tasks, any number of tasks you can submit. Okay. So just I'm going to brief one liner about this all, so that you can just recap, revise them, and today our objective only that this is the way you have to uh, try to create the multi-threading code. Whatever the code, this is your business logic code, maybe in the same class or new class or anywhere, you written some code and you want that code run by separate thread. Simply you can just use the executor service and try to submit your task. Task number 1, task number 2, task number 3, any number of tasks you want to set, that's do. And the rest work, how thread class going to create, you want to start, you want to stop, all the activity is taken care by your executor service as a framework, right? So we
Right.
have to just use the submit method. As a developer, our responsibility, hey, this is my business logic code, I want to run in a separate thread, not my main thread. Okay, just use the submit method and call. So we are using the executor class, executor interface submit method to start multi-threading. Question is that executor service is the interface, then which implementation class you are going to use? Depend upon the condition. So let's
Okay.
discuss the condition number 1. I can create executor service by a following way, right?
Right.
So let's talk about this fixed thread pool. What do you mean fixed thread pool? That means here I want in my server or my application, this is by default main thread always is started, right? Apart
Right.
from that, I want only 3 more user defined threads. So he say, hey, this is the 5 means I say, hey, JVM, can you create 5 thread for me? They can create 5 thread for you. Okay, but what these 5 threads are doing? Till now, nothing, just created in the pool. Here, whenever I write a new fixed thread pool 5 file, just Java virtual machine going to create 5 thread for you. But they're not doing anything until
Right.
you are not submitting job here. Submitting task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4. Might be a requirement. I have a 10 different methods. I want to run it in 10 different threads, right?
Right.
But you say, hey, I have a 10 my work, but I don't want 5 or 10 OS thread need to create. I say, no, this is the only 5 is the maximum capacity in my hardware, right? So I can only
Right.
go with the 5. But these 5 thread, one by one, they can complete maybe 100 job, right? So maybe first 5 jobs is done with the 5 thread. Once 5 tasks is completed, the same 5 threads going to pick up a next 5 job, next 5 job, next 5 job. In this way, we can say we are going to reuse our thread. So executor service is the one of more you can say key benefit. They are going to reuse the created thread. But you say just 5 thread, 5 thread can serve any number of requests. Maybe you had decide 3, you decide 10, you decide 20, right?
Right.
Here library given you option, you decide what number of thread you want JVM create for your application, right?
Right.
So this is the this way. So it's clear if fixed thread pool. Fixed thread means as a developer, as a programmer, we deciding whenever our main application going to start, our server going to up. After that, more 5 user thread created. And what they
Right.
will do, I'll going to submit the job. Maybe 1 job, 2 job, 100 job, 1,000 job, right? Job means task, which the code which we want to run in a separate thread. So is it clear? This
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Great.
So 5 means it opens 5 thread
Yes.
maximum.
Yeah, maximum. And this fact 5 thread can do 1 work, or can do 2 work, or can do 5 work, or can do 10 work. This only 5 thread.
Right. Right.
If I have only 1 work, so 1 thread can complete your work and 4 are the pending, waiting stage. They're not doing anything, right? But if submitted a
But line
10
number
job, hmm,
line
yes.
number 18, we have not mentioned how many thread we want to open.
Which line number?
Line 18. 18.
18 here.
Yeah.
We'll discuss first here this is the I'm discussing this. Now we come here. Okay, if you create this way, you can create here this way. Here you can specify, here you can specify. This is the one way, right?
Right.
Here this is the one way, right?
Right.
Here this means I'm going to using this first as a concept, right? So this is the clear. What do you mean by fixed thread pool? Fixed
Right.
thread pool means as a software developer decided ki whenever our application server start, at that time this 5 number of threads are created by default. Okay, and what they're doing currently, they're not doing anything, but later part, because this is the executor service object I have, I can call my submit method in a loop and any times. So whatever your task, passing task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4, 10 tasks or 100 tasks, you can say. Okay, maybe here the a same task might be option I can run in the loop int stream and say, hey, range close 1 to 100 task I want to submit. Okay, for each, and just I submitted this code here. Okay,
Yeah.
here say you are going to submitting 100 job, but 100 job they are not going to create 100 thread for you. Only this 5 thread is sufficient to serve your 100 work, right? 5 threads is sufficient to complete your first 5 will going to complete 5 work, then free, then again 5, then again 5, then again 5, then again 5. In this
Right.
way, you can complete any number of your tasks. So this is the benefit. We are using our hardware capacity with a limited number of resources. We can complete lots of jobs, lots of work, right?
Right.
So this is the one use of your fixed thread pool. Fixed thread pool help us to reuse the fixed number of defined thread.
That's correct. Right.
If this is the fixed thread pool, you cannot say I'm not passing anything. You always have to pass as compiler give you the compile time error because you are trying to use the fixed thread pool, right?
Oh, so that needs number.
Yeah, that means
Any
number of thread pool you want, right?
Right.
You have to specify something at 3, something 4, something 5. Notice I'm not specifying there's a error 1 here, right?
Right.
Here cannot resolve. There is no such constructor, default constructor. You have to pass something, some number like 3. The 3 threads, now it's okay, right?
Right.
So this is the one use case. So where if you want, you can specify. Now jump to the next thread pool. Might be, this is the one way, right? Another way, I am going to use the executor service by this way. I am not interested. I initially don't know how many number of threads going to create. Developers say, let Java virtual machine decide itself. I am not interested to tell the number of threads they are going to create for me, right?
Right.
So this is known as a new cached thread pool. What do you mean? Cache means they are internally reusing the cache. What do you mean? If here, let's you pass 100 job. So he's trying to create, let's say he figure out your hardware have a number of core 8. So by default, they are going to create 8 thread for you, right? The number of
Right.
available your core or processing system. And accordingly, 8 these threads are going to reuse again. Okay.
Right.
So here objective that instead of here developer decide the number of thread I going to pass, let Java virtual machine itself decide how many number of threads this application required, right?
Right.
So here I'm not passing anything, right? So
Right.
cache thread pool generally use whenever your task is very small work. If this task is very small work, this is very small work, they quickly can complete, right? So
Right.
generally we prefer whenever your ad hoc work, any small business work, we have lots, then use this cache thread pool, right? But this is but they can do any other thing, whatever. But this is guidelines you can say. If you read the documents and they mention create a thread pool, create a new thread, and will reuse the previously constructed thread when they are available, right?
Right.
So whenever they create one threads, and if this is not completed job, then if submit another jobs, new thread created. Submit another job, new thread created. Submit another job, but at that time this is the free, so they are going to use again this code, right?
Right.
Let's say there is no fixed number of thread as you submitting a task. Task number 1, new thread created. Task number 2, new thread created. Task number 3, new test created. Task number 3, you say this is already free, then reuse them, right? So once the previous created threads are free, they are going to reuse, right? Until they
Right.
are not free, they are going to create new thread, new thread, new thread. This is the intention, right? Here,
Right.
uh, depend upon the available free threads they are going to reuse. Here mention typically improve the performance of program that execute may short-lived asynchronous task. The generally preferable way your task is very short. This is do the better performance, right?
Right.
And call to execute the reuse the previously constructed threads. Same thing here mentioned. Just read out the documentation, right?
Right.
So this is the purpose of your new cache thread pool. Means purpose is that for each your request, new thread going to create, but before going to create new thread, compiler check, JVM check already some threads which previously created at free, then I'm going to reuse, right?
Right. Right.
This is the purpose of your cache thread pool. So now here is a new single thread pool. What do you mean a single means? Now they are going to create a thread, just only one thread, not more than one, right? So here if you are using this single thread pool concept, like a single thread is, that
Right.
means here you know, here already mentioned this is single means one. By default, this thread pool works same if you pass here one. Let's say I pass here fixed thread pool here one. Work same as like a single thread pool, right?
Right.
So here instead of you can pass compiler say I have given a specific. Sometime you want to only one thread pool. Thread pool contain only one threads. You can use this single thread. Means only one threads are do all these 100 jobs. No more
Right.
than one thread created, right?
That's called single thread
Single
executed.
thread. Only one thread created. This thread is doing your 100 work. This is the
Hmm.
by name mention single thread pool, right?
So this is like a like initially we open new thread for
Uh,
single.
yes, similarly,
Okay. Similar.
right. So this is the one way, and this is the one new work thread pool which till we not touch them, we not examine them, we not do any exercise here, but just I'm explaining what they mean. The another way is the work stealing thread. As
Right.
the very good options, ki whatever the meaning, literal meaning, the same thing they are doing. So what the meaning here say? Ki new work stealing thread pool, right? So here
Right.
meaning. So let us assume ki whenever we are submitting 10 jobs, they are creating one thread, one threads, one threads, one thread. By default here, our Java virtual machine depend upon your hardware capacity, your OS capacity. They created a number of thread internally pool. Let's they created a 4 thread, right? Internally. That example. So what happened? I am going to submit 100 jobs. I am going to submit here 100 jobs, 100 jobs, right? So one threads pick up one work, another work, another work, another work, another work, right? The 4 threads,
Right.
4 work they pick up and they are doing. Okay. What happened? These threads were quickly completed. He is still doing his work and he is free. So what's okay? Whatever the your remaining work, I can pick from you and I can complete your task, right?
Okay.
Work stealing means ki if any one threads are free and they look other my colleague threads is still is working. So why not? Why I cannot? Why I'm sitting idle? I can go and ask, hey, give me your remaining work to me, and I can take your work and complete from me. This is the work stealing pool.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay.
Same means just take work from the existing thread if they are doing.
Right. To make
Before,
things faster. Right.
yes, purpose is that, right? The way this is designed means once they have a one task completed, and he free, like I'm free, but I don't have any new task to take from queue, no work, but still my colleagues, my peer thread is still working. Might be they will larger times. I'm
Right.
free, then I'm go ask, hey, give me your remaining part. I'll do in continue the remaining part so that you can work together on the same code, and we can complete the customer requirement as early.
Right.
So this is known as your work stealing pool, right?
Yeah.
And work stealing. This is the one another way. is like this one is the single thread executor here. So here we have already covered this like scheduling, thread scheduling, right? This is the thread
Right.
scheduling pool. Means here say, hey, this is my task. I want to schedule this task every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, every 2 minutes, right?
Right.
We have already covered this. This is also thread pool where you can say, hey, I want to uh, do uh, generally whenever you are doing this way, generally they have a instead of a executor service here you can take a dot where and one reference say schedule third. Okay, now we have a schedule executor service. Now this have a method like a oh sorry schedule thread pool, and now we have a schedule thread pool. Now schedule have a this are you can say dot at fixed rate, right? At schedule at a
Yeah.
fixed rate. At fixed rate, I want to schedule and give me the time, right?
Right.
So this is the way we can use this. My simple task, and I think in previous times and second your times, and give your unit maybe millisecond or second something, right?
Right.
We have already covered it. Just yes, a times dot second. And every 1 second, this task going to run, right?
Right.
So generally, sometime we want some kind of a cron job utility, fixed time, every minute, every second, every day, particular my work, particular my jobs can be started, right? So in those scenario, we are going to use the thread scheduler executor service, right? Thread scheduler executor service help us to schedule your job. Don't do one time, two time. Yeah, this is only 100 time. I can say no. Infinitely, every 1 second you have to run, right?
Yeah, I think you showed this before, right?
Yeah, we have already covered this example,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can decide instead of only 10 time, 20 time, 100 time. No, I'm saying this code in every day run infinitely. But this means for every day, this code is going to run without any human intervention, right? This is
Right.
not a scheduled service. Maybe second, maybe minute, every minute you can say, every minute this code going to run, right?
Right.
So this is the one kind of pools we are used. So these are the things already we have covered. And the last and most preferable way nowadays, which I'm also preferring, always go to use this concept like a virtual threads. But this is the last and the most recent. Now this code is only available after JDK 21, and this is the way. Same thing. You can execute a service, and maybe similarly here you can say just call, and maybe 100 job, millions job, number of tasks you want to just here say, hey, I want to new virtual thread pool. So here maybe 100, maybe 1000, maybe 10,000 number of threads you can just start to do your work. So if you have your request, if for user request you want a separate thread, maybe you have a millions of tasks or thousands of tasks, 20,000 tasks, when you have a huge number of work. Okay, the most preferable way you can use this virtual thread per task executor,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So this is the last couple class. We can also consider complete this. Okay, this is the latest of the Java designers, or say if possible, you can use this virtual thread concept. And virtual thread is, you cannot say this is the do any kind of fast performance. No,
Mhm.
they are for huge number of requests served parallelly, right?
Right.
This is for when you have a huge number of tasks you want to do in the parallel, a multi-threading, right? So when in a multi-threading, your number of tasks, number of work is huge, maybe 10,000, 20,000, 10,000, 50,000. In such situation, you cannot go create 50,000 at 60,000 as a OS thread. That go with the Java virtual threads. So in those case, in those situation, please use a preferable way to use this new virtual thread concept. From code perspective, all the same thing. You have just to submit task, maybe runnable task, callable task, whatever you want. Just do the same things. So here notice for writing your particular code in a multi-threaded as a you don't need to do any extra. Just you have to call only submit method and submit your task. But
Right.
this task is run by in a virtual thread or scheduled thread pool or is work stealing thread pool or single threaded or cache threaded or fixed number of thread pool. Just tell to our executor service, hey executor service, I want such kind of environment you can create, and in those environment you run my this task, right?
So can you go up?
Hmm.
So this 1000, you just created 10,000 thread,
Yes, 10,000 virtual thread.
new virtual thread per
Yeah.
task.
So this is the thread pool executor service. You want to more than 1,000, more than 100, more than 500 thread per
Yeah.
task. Please prefer to use the virtual threads.
But what I was want to ask, if you go up, you put the number inside the bracket, but this time you didn't put the number.
So here no need because virtual thread say automatically I am created virtual thread for you. There is no limit here. 1, 200,000 million.
Oh,
Right?
that's why
So
you put. How do you mention 1000? Like 10, if you want to create
if you
10,000.
want to only one, you can just here I can just make a loop, 100-time loop, 1,000-time loop, right?
Oh, that's how you. Okay, okay, that's how
Yes.
you do it.
Here I am just making a one loop for loop, and here just this is my task one. Submit the same task 100,000 times.
Right, right, yeah,
Yeah, 10,000 times, right?
right,
So this is the virtual threads are most suitable multi-threading concept when you are going to serve huge number of requests. For the objective of this virtual threads that if I'm going to write a particular server applications and each request is served by the one thread, each request served by one thread, each request served by one thread. Let's
right,
keep here I am receiving per second 500 requests. That means 500 thread must be running in the parallel in our application, right? Let's say
right,
I receive 1,000 requests per second. Means per second 1,000 thread must be running. Let's say I receive the request 10,000 requests per second. That means in the per second 10,000 thread will be created. So 10,000 virtual thread you can easily create. Platform threads are a costly operation, right? Maybe in the
right,
10,000. Let us say 100,000 request I am receiving in the per second, right? So here 100,000 virtual thread required, right? Virtual threads you can create it 100,000 as well as.
right,
So here virtual thread is meet the customer expectation, is
right,
increase the throughput of my applications. Okay. Previously it's uh, you can receive 100,000 requests our server receive but put in the queue. Okay, put in the queue because we have a limited number of Java thread, right? You cannot create maybe thousands, maybe 10,000. So once this is a free, then could next. So our response time was previously some higher. Now our response times is so quicker because for one request one separate thread is working, right?
right,
The major you can say improvement in a multi-threaded environment using the help of virtual thread is that our application can increase the throughput response, right? Means
Right.
now our application can serve each request simultaneously on the same request come and the same time I'm giving reply, right?
Right.
I'm not saying ki please wait, some requests are in a queue, right?
Right.
So preferable way nowadays possible, please use this virtual thread concept because that this is recently available from the JDK 21. But this the concept, virtual thread concepts are implemented by Java designer. Is not just 6 months or 1 year. They have it more than 5 years to develop this concept, right?
Right. Right.
Now, before Java 21, they have also released in a Java 20, Java 19 as a preview feature. As a Java designer want to take the feedback from the developer queue. What is the feedback of virtual threads? And finally, they decided in JDK 21, it is a part of our language feature. So before JDK 21 you download, you cannot getting this concept of virtual thread pool, right? But after
Right.
21, you can get this concept. And from the developer perspective, there is no any specific change, just one syntax. Here we are previously we are saying new fixed thread pool or cache thread pool. Similarly, simply change this line one liner is the virtual thread pool.
Right.
Okay, and just do your work. So notice here the word we are using the pool word. We are using the pool word. We are using the pool. Pool means you can go create some thread pool, right? Threads
Right.
and use them. But in the case of virtual threads, there is no need of pool. Each request one thread created, 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 because this virtual thread creation is so cheaper. So we have not need to pool of them. For each request I'm able to create new thread. So don't need to make a pool. Previously, why we are making pool? Because this is an operating system thread, this is a platform thread, and platform threads is a limited thread. For each request I cannot create the new threads.
Right.
So due to that, in the case of virtual thread, there is no word use this pool. They say new virtual thread per task executor. If you have a task 1, task 2, for each task, I have a 2 tasks and 10,000. 10,000 multiplied by 2, 20,000 tasks. The 20,000 virtual threads they're going to create it for you.
Right.
There no need is the pool of thread. Because there is no need, because now virtual thread is more cheaper than the operating system thread, platform threads. So this is the quick summary about this executor service. So preference way, if whenever you are going to write, you want to use get the benefit of this multi-threading in a Java language, please use this executor service, and they have a multiple flavor for you, not the only one flavor, right?
Right. Right.
Depend upon your use case, depend upon the situation, depend upon the context, you can use any thread pool and submit your task. And but as a latest concept is the virtual thread, the preference way, always use this virtual thread concept. Please avoid to use the thread pool, right?
Right.
That's good. Till now, any confusion, any doubt, any things?
No, that's all. Now it's clear. It's like more structured
Yeah.
today. We,
Because these are the things we cover different chapter lecture, different classes. So today I just think why not we can just discuss all brief in a one, right?
right.
So you can say in a Java, multi-threading is so simple. There is nothing you have to do. Whatever you have a task 1, task 2, maybe this is the same class, a different class, any set of method, any set of code you want to multi-threading, just you create the executor service object and just do submit. And submit pass your task 1, task 2. Now this code is run by your separate thread. If you are calling directly here my task, this is run by your main thread, right?
Right.
Major difference is this is your sequential code. One by one, those codes are run. First this run and then task one. Because this is the only one thread, main thread. The main thread first completed this and after that this. This is the sequential coding. Now you want to multi-threading. Don't just we have to create the executor service object and then submit this two line in the submit method. Now this submit
I got
method, this
it.
is the not sequential. Means this thread may be run first, maybe this thread may be run first, right?
Right.
Both run parallelly because they have a different two threads that are working, right? So
Right.
multi-threading nowadays so simple by the executor service. Just create one object and just submit your method. If you want to
Right.
sequential programming, just maybe with the direct call. Multi-threading, just push these methods inside your submit method. Just
And that will work. Yeah.
that's work for multi-threading.
Right.
This is the simple in multi-threading. This is the code you want to run in the single-threaded, just write in the main method. This is the single-threaded by default. You want to multi-threading, just this method call inside the submit method. Hey, submit
Right.
method, this is my code, this is my code. Now you run in the concurrency, in the multi-threading, in a separate thread. And how you get the submit method from this executor service? How to create executor service? Using the factory method. You can create the executor service object and call the submit method. Simple.
Right. Got it.
You have any till now something in mind you want to discuss?
Um, no, I think that's really good today. Like,
So here, this class have a lots of utility classes. We cannot cover all the things, but majorly we have cover things which are required, right? But these are the executor.
oh,
Executor is a class. This is a very used class. Executors, right? These are utility classes.
oh, so they have a lot of classes.
If you go inside this class and look the all the method, this is lots of method. We cover this. We cover. Okay. We cover
Executor.
this fixed thread, schedule thread, we cover work stealing, we cover almost many things we have covered, right? Almost
So,
all the things.
so
What?
our content was good. What
Yeah,
we covered a lot.
lots. Okay.
So was it executor or executor service? Which one you
Uh,
are looking at?
this is the executors is a utility class. They
Right.
provide the implementation of the its interface. Executor service is the interface.
Okay, okay,
Executor
okay.
service is the interface, and we cannot create the object of it because notice this have a method. All this, right?
Right, right, right,
Executor service is the interface. How to create the object? Interface we cannot object create. That means we are going to implement them. We have to write the implementation class. So this
right.
executor service is utility class. Say, don't worry. I am giving the multiple implementation of the same interface. You can use this implementation, this implementation, this implementation, this implementation, this. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So all this uh, is the implementation class written inside this executors class. Executors is a utility class. This is a simple one class, right? This is the class. And
Okay,
they
okay.
have implemented like a new fixed thread pool, right? They
Right.
written executor service. So internally they are using this implementation class. What the implementation
Okay.
class? Thread pool executor. This is the notice. This is the class. They have implemented your this is the class, and internally they implemented your
Right.
executor service interface.
Right.
This is the class somewhere. This is the class where class bigger class. This is a very bigger class.
So let me recap.
Uh,
Executor is interface. It
Executor
doesn't.
service is the interface.
Executor service is interface, but executor is a class, and
Executors, yes, executors.
executors is the class that has the all the
Implementation of this interface.
implementation of this interface. Okay.
Right.
So these are the implementation, right? Each
Yeah, all are the
of this.
implementation.
So these are called classes too.
Uh, Method.
Oh, so sorry. This methods are implementation of.
Implementation method internally using this is the class, new implementation class. Notice
Right, right, right,
this method return the implementation class object, right?
right, right. Mm,
Similarly, here notice this is the one method, but what method? The method return this one implementation class,
right, right.
right?
The
So
implementation class. Mm,
yes. So just let's do practice. Let's do use and multi-threading in the Java nowadays is very simple, right?
right.
Good. I think we are good. If you have not any question.
That's great. Thank you, Ajay.
Okay, so almost we have covered this concurrency or multi-threading concept. Let's do
Mm,
practice. Any doubt, any confusion, we can surely connect. And let's move to the next topic next.
sure. And I would say this this the end of multi-threading?
Almost, yes. But
Almost. Yeah.
we are ready to listen you and what kind of questions you have, right? Those
Oh,
we have to take in care first, right?
okay, okay, sure, sure, sure. Okay, okay. That's great.